Hello, it's been a while I haven't done any review, and because I had COVID tests in both Victoria and in Queensland, why not do a review on them? So I just walked into the Sunbury Community Centre for my COVID test 72 hours prior to boarding my plane back to Gold Coast, and excuse me, I have allergies. And it just hardly took 20 to 25 minutes. Now the process of this COVID testing is long cotton bud is first of all inserted in your throat to get the saliva, and then that same cotton bud is actually inserted in your one nostril, and then you're supposed to count to 10, and then it is inserted in the next nostril, and then you're supposed to count to 10 again. I was told that I'll get my results through SMS on my mobile phone within 24 to 48 hours, and guess what? I received my results for 24 hours because I had a plane to board. So I had looked the map of Victoria for the red zones, the COVID hotspots, but there was none because Victoria had declared that they're not going to issue any more new hotspot areas. And Queensland had therefore deemed the whole of Victoria as the COVID red zone. Now, before departure to my visit to Sunbury, Victoria to see my parents at my brother's place, and I've lived all my life in Australia over there, I had asked the Queensland hotline if it is okay for me to visit Victoria, and they said, well, yes, if you're fully vaccinated, you just have to go. You don't need any permit. You don't have to apply for the pass. Just get a COVID test over there and return. So things have been changing in Queensland like this. I don't know why. What the fuss is about. Anyways, my COVID test there 72 hours prior boarding had returned negative, and that's what mattered. And then I got the permit, correct one. Yes, I was going to tell you the issue. So there you go. You need three documents. Number one is your fully vaccinated status. Number two is the 72 hours prior boarding COVID test result, negative result. And number three is the permit. I had made a little mistake for the permit application. They had inquired if I had been to any red hot COVID hotspots in Victoria, and I looked up my suburb, Sunbury, Victoria 3429, the city of Melbourne International Airport, and I couldn't find it, so I said no. And that was the mistake I made, because when I didn't get the permit to board and I had a flight in the next morning, I called the Queensland hotline again and I asked them what happened, and they said, you are coming from Victoria, which is whole red COVID zone for Queensland. And I said, excuse me, you have listed names and my suburb didn't fall under it. Even my city of Hume City Council didn't fall under it, because there were LGAs, locally governed authorities, in the list, and I didn't see Hume City Council. But she said to me, well, you know what, actually currently the whole of Victoria stands red. And I said, your colleague told me you're fully vaccinated, and because the government has met the criteria of 80% fully vaccination by by 17 December, so you don't need to apply for the permit, etc. And she said, but every day the changes are taking place, so you need to and I said, well, this is hassle, this is ready. And I asked her, well, what if I don't do it? And she said, the border police will take care of you. And I said, excuse me, am I a criminal? The criteria was get fully vaccinated, and I have been sick with vaccinations because my body is different. It is sensitive to foreign particles injected I even get sick after a flu shot. I said to them, this is not normal. First you say one thing and then you contradict another thing, and she said to me, look, just you want to come back to Queensland, you can come back, just get the permit and be done with it. And well, I got done with it and I arrived back in Gold Coast. So the story continues. After 5 days, I am supposed to have a COVID test again in Queensland because I have come from a COVID red Victoria. Most of the clinics were shut down because of the holiday season, and I think I went on 27. That was my 5th day, and only the Gold Coast Hospital, Southport Hospital was open near me. Yeah. So I went there. I thought it will be the similar process, you just walk in, but to my surprise, I was told to return and come back again early in the morning at 6 a.m. They told me to bring a snack with me because it will be a long waiting. The next morning, I went and stood in front of a guy. Now, there were people behind the guy, and and yes, I didn't think about the people. I thought, okay, this person is the last one, so I should stand behind him. So I just went and stood, and everyone looked at me and then they pointed that I need to go and stand at the end of the line because I was standing as the first person to be tested and not the last. So apologies. And then I went around the corner beside the road and saw the never-ending line at 6 a.m. So all of those people who were standing there before me had probably arrived after 5 a.m. So I went and stood there. I was the last one. Nobody from the hospital was there because the test would not start before 9 a.m. Cafe that was open. And I asked them where was the hospital toilet. The sales girl told me flat that you will not be allowed to go inside the hospital. So you have to go to the service station nearby and use their toilet. Okay, first of all, people should be clear about this COVID infection, which is a pandemic and not an epidemic. Coronavirus and its variants happen to be droplet infection. The droplet infection is going to be present in the air, yes. So a mask is appropriate to cover your nostrils and your mouth because we speak and we breathe in. And of course, personal hygiene and clean surfaces, clean surrounds. This is something which humans can definitely do. Only animals and other creatures are not as effective. They cannot clean after themselves or their surrounds as effectively as humans can. And this is why humans are termed as superior beings. And this is why prophets and messengers have been sent to the humankind. I didn't go to the service station now because I had come through a tram stop, so I had noticed a toilet there, so I went straight there. Now, would you believe when I returned, let's say 10 minutes, 5 minutes walk and 5 minutes toilet use, let's say 12 minutes. When I returned to my line, there were 15 people because I counted them. And people were just coming, families, individuals, couples. Finally, before 9, like I would say 8:30, I didn't check the time, but I was busy going through my phone. The hospital staff member gave us sheets with the QR code. It was not the regular or standard Queensland checking code, but something that the hospital had provided for us to take a snapshot and fill up the registration form on the website. So that's what we did, and then finally, thank God, the line started to move forward, and at 9 o'clock the testing started. Come to think of it, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is 3 hours. Others were also tending to their phones mostly, or just chatting amongst themselves. But some had brought their own folding chairs. Not some, but very few. Very few. The rest were just fidgeting, sitting on the ground, standing up, walking. I was doing my joints exercises because I have joints inflammation. And when I went in for my test, I was piqued by the way the authorized personnel poked the long cotton bud into my nose. She just took it straight to the end of my nostril up, and it really hurt. And I had to grab her wrist 3 times. And then I said finally, because tears was streaming to my eyes, it was really hurtful. I said, this did not happen in Victoria. And I recalled what a charming young authorized officer was in Sunbury Community Center who was smiling, and I mean, she just, told me the process, and once I sort of got irritated, but the next time I didn't. So she did it gently. But this person was actually poking the stick into my nose, and that was, hurtful. And then, they were trying to tell me to behave. And I said, look, I can do it myself. And they wouldn't allow me. Because it's my nose. I know my nose limits. I can do it better. And, the 4th time, probably she paid heed to my complaint, and she did it quickly. The result was there before 12 hours, and it was negative. I'm fully vaccinated. Why do I need to sit a COVID test? I just don't understand. What is the use of getting fully vaccinated? If I had known that I will be sitting 2 tests, one in Victoria and one in Queensland, honestly, I wouldn't have gotten fully vaccinated. Such hassles. Another thing is that if you have to test, please stop poking the stick into the noses of the people. Give them the stick. Ask them to do it the right way, and that's it. Do not make it cumbersome and difficult for people. Make it easy. If you want them to cooperate, then make it easy. Yeah? And there's no harm in just smiling and, telling them, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You can do it yourself if you like. Give them an option. They are sensitive people too. Not everyone may be insensitive like you. Excuse me. So at the end of the day, I just want to highlight in this review the pros and cons. Is it really necessary, the COVID test for the fully vaccinated, number 1? And number 2, for those for whom it is deemed essential. Yes, you have, all fingers are not equal. Please don't pigeonhole everyone into the same spot. Make a list of who are the people who really need to be tested. Perhaps those who are not fully vaccinated? Yeah? Otherwise, there's no use of getting fully vaccinated. I remember I was refused rental accommodation. I think 3 or 4 shared house owners or maintenance who would not let me my own room and bathroom rental accommodation because I was fully vaccinated. So some people really dread vaccinated people coming in. Why? Because you are injecting, you're changing DNAs of people with foreign particles, whether it's antigens, whether it's whatever, PCR, whatever. Perhaps the health officials need to be more explanatory. Thank you.